we spend most of our lives focusing on our resume virtues, which are the things we present before people by which we want them to admit us into their confidence, their circle, or whatever it is. Accept me based upon my resume virtue. But then there are certain things that we might call tonight eulogy virtues. And eulogy virtues are the things that people will say about us after we are no longer here. The hope and the goal is that your eulogy virtues will outlive your resume virtues. Whereas with a lot of people, that's not the case. Here's where I'm going with this. Brian, what are some eulogy virtues that you have come to realize in your work and in your writing and in your ministry are indispensable that every life should aspire towards?
I think first and foremost, man, it's got to be my faith, my trust in life after life. The idea that my life is anchored in something spiritual and not just natural. That I am a spiritual being having an earthly experience. That I'm living for something beyond just cars, houses, and looking good and being famous. That I'm living to live again, that ultimately my faith is the thing that anchors my soul. And I think we're realizing that now, that when the world has stopped, we recognize that the thing we can count on and rely on is our faith in God, our faith in something beyond what we can see, feel, and touch. And so for me, man, I think everyone should be aspiring to say, look, these natural things are cool, but what happens when you take the job away? What happens when you take the house away? Who am I without all these things? And who Brian Bullock is, I'm a child of God. And I think that that is so important. I think that is what gives us hope, because we know that in this life, man, you could be on a high one day and on a low the next day. You could be extremely wealthy one day and then lose it all the next. And so we can't build our life on that. My grandfather used to say, "Oh, him, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness." And he would always tell me, man, on Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. And I think we're realizing that all of the ground is sinking sand. I mean, dude, we don't have the NBA. We don't have the NFL. We don't have sports, the things that were always going.
Brian, the hell with the NBA. We don't have a Cheesecake Factory.
Fried macaroni and cheese, man. The fried macaroni and cheese. Come on now. And so we realized that this all sinking sand, man. But dude, I wake up and pray every morning. I woke up this morning, went for a walk, and began to worship. These scriptures that my mother taught me when I was a child are anchoring me. They bring me so much peace. They're bringing my wife and children peace. And I think that's the thing we got to keep in focus.
No, I think that's rich and it's valuable, because again, at the end of the day, I mean, you said it, this moment has reduced us down to what is fundamental. In America, everything is important and none of it is significant. This is the only country in the world that teaches you to love everything and be devoted to absolutely nothing. And this moment has required of us that we develop a new kind of muscle. So I asked Brian about eulogy virtues. Larese, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question and ask you about legacy decisions, because I think Brian tonight is going to be our expert as it relates to principles and philosophy. But Larese, you're going to be our expert as it relates to the practical decisions that you have to make in order to secure your house and your family. Give me some significant legacy decisions.
One, Dr. Sean, we have to stop looking good and we're not good. And that's in our community. We have to not create a top 10 list for Netflix and have no net worth. So when I think about us, we got to spend this time right now. Corona exposed a lot of people, and we're blaming it on Corona, but it just exposed us. It wasn't Corona's fault that we were broke or we had bad credit or we didn't have any money saved. It just exposed us. So I would say, just like you spend, hours Googling and on not your favorite Facebook, IG, and all that stuff all day, how much time are you sitting with your family and having the money date nights, spending 2 hours where you're exposing them to their life insurance policy where you expose them to the accounts, the investments, how to be a home owner, and creating real wealth. How much time are we doing that?
I love him so much.
So what I'm saying to you is we got to create legacies, but you can't create if you don't have a conversation. You know, like grandma them did, like Brian said, you know, like granddad and grandma, you know, when we would talk about life insurance, they would say, baby, what you trying to kill me? So nobody wanted to talk about that. So when they died, you couldn't even find the policy, or you found keys to a safe deposit box that you didn't know where it existed. So today we have to sit with our families and have conversations. We have to talk about what's in our 401k. How much do we owe on the house? You know, and really make sure that we help line our kids to have future success. So we got to build legacies, but we got to do that through conversations.
No, I love that. I absolutely want to stop and just honor that. The very simple notion that we are probably one conversation away to creating a level of generational wealth and that most Black families could not imagine, and we don't do it because we don't have those conversations. You know, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody else, because you know both of my sons have children now, and I still ain't told them nothing. I can't trust. They might come and kill me. Brian,
tell them where the money is. Tell them where the money is, man.
Tell them where it's at.